Hello all, it's all here, back with another Rune Guide video. Today's video is going to be on Hathor, the Desert Queen. We're going to go through the best runes for her for early, mid and late game, which are her best stones and the best team ups. But before we jump into see what her attack does, did you know that I have already done 34 characters in the game so far? I'll leave a rune playlist tag just on the top right here. I'd love for you to press the subscribe button and you don't want to miss any of the future guides that I do. With all that said and done, let's go and see who Hathor's attack does. Hathor's attack is called Delayed Promise. She uses the Curse of the Desert to put the backline enemies to sleep and grants Deceleration 1 on them. So now we know what her attack does. Let's jump into early game runes. Right, starting at the early game then, the best runes for Hathor is the Swift rune, which drops the mana cost by 1. This makes Hathor from a 4-star mana cost to a 3-star mana cost, and this is great early game because you can get the early counter using the 3 mana cost first time to sleep that backline and give you that advantage. So knowing that Swift is the best early game rune, let's move on to mid game. So now coming into the mid game for Hathor, the best runes to equip her is Swift and the Focused rune. So the Swift drops her from a 4 to 3 mana cost like the early game, but now we'll add in the Focus rune, which gives her 30% extra accuracy. Now these two combos are great if you have the green stone and the legendary stone. If you are going to use her with the purple stone, I would switch the Swift rune to the energy rune, as the purple decreases her mana cost normally. So they're the runes I would have if you have the purple stone. Now with that being said, whether you've got the green purple combo, you want to make sure that all the runes that you've got are now purple, and probably leveling up to about 5 or so, just to give you that little edge of extra stats for when you're climbing up the rank. You just want to save as much dust as possible for legendary runes, which we'll now come on to. So let's move on to late game. Moving on to the late game then, again like the mid game, you've got two options. If you have the green and the legendary stone, I would use the Swift and the Focus. Just like mid game, it lowers the mana cost by 1 and it gives you the extra 30% focus. However, now moving these into legendary stones, I would solely focus on getting as much accuracy and crit protection as possible, just so whenever she does get hit, she won't get hit hard, and you're making sure you're landing that Delayed Promise on the back line as much as physically possible. If you do have the purple stone, or you're going to run the purple stone, I'll switch the Swift to a Violent. This gives you 30% chance of getting the card back, just so that you can use the Delayed Promise again as another counter, or just continuously sleeping that back line. Again with those, making sure that you have them up to legendary runes and you're focusing in on HP and accuracy for the purple stone. So they're the runes. Let's move on to actually what the stones do. Now onto the stones then. The first one is the green stone. This increases the sleep duration of Delayed Promise by 3 seconds. Now this is one of my personal favourite stones, because even though it says 3 seconds, it feels like so much longer when you first have this green stone compared to when you don't. You can hit so much more attacks to the enemy before they come out of sleep, so you can wipe the front line out. This one personally is my favourite. However, we do have a purple stone which decreases the mana cost by 1, which is also very helpful. You can put Swift on her with this stone, and this will give her a 2 mana cost monster for the first time using, then 3 onwards. If that's your style for backline control, that can be very useful. And then you have got her legendary stone. Now it's a passive ability. The basic attack grants unrecoverable on a target, and it is with a fixed chance, so it may not happen all the time. So they're her 3 stones. Personally, I prefer the green stone because when you put sleep on the backline, just feels like it slept forever. However, I do have a legendary stone as well, and I found it very useful in ranked against legendary stones Vertihill, and also when people are running a Waddam legendary stone, because it puts the unrecoverable on. Super helpful in that. Plus there's a secret awesome team up with this stone, which we'll move on to now because we're going to team ups. Now moving on to team ups then. The first team up I'm going to go through is Hathor and Targos. Now for this team combo to work, you must have Hathor on the legendary stone and Targos on his purple stone. What this does is that Hathor on the front person will grant unrecoverable, and at the same time Targos will put continuous damage on them. So even without even using a basic move, the front person is now unrecoverable and continuous damage, so you can sit there and make the enemy team react first for you to counter. Super strong team up. If you do have both of these stones and these characters, it's definitely well worth looking into to play. Now the other team up that I go for is Hathor and Rune. Now I love these two, especially if you I have Hathor on here on the green stone and Rune on the purple stone, as this gives me the best, or gives you the best front and backline control going. Heather can sleep the backline for I'd say at least 8-9 seconds, and then if anyone on the front line starts attacking, you've got Rune to freeze them, and making sure you have that high accuracy on him, you can freeze the front line. It is great line control and puts you in advantage to play how you want to play. Third team up is Hathor and Waddam. Now Hathor will put deceleration on the back team as well as sleeping. So with Waddam, just before the sleep turns or comes off, you want to use Waddam, and with Waddam's ability, if they're decelerationed, she will stun them, so you can prolong the non-attacking part of the enemy team for that little bit longer. Again, if you don't have Waddam high enough, the freeze spell works just in the same way, or you can have both. It's entirely up to you. Now the fourth and final one is you've got Hathor, and you can have either Ganymede, Tableau or Poseidon. Now any one of those or any 3 of those, you could have all 4 if you want to be greedy, but those 4, if you pair them up, that is your speed control. You are making sure that the team is decelerationed once, twice, and depending who you have, you can burn their cards, have them at deceleration 3, or even speeding yourself up. So they're all the team ups that I think you should have. Definitely have a play with all of them. Let me know in the comments down below which one is your favourite. I'd love to hear that. So now know the best runes for Hathor, the best stones for her, and the best team ups for her. Now this video is coming to the end, but I do have more rune guides. I have 34 of them. If you want to take a look at any of those, just click on the playlist. I'll leave that in the link below and a little tag on the top. Give me a thumbs up for this video if you like it. I'll see you in the next one.